Hey guys, welcome to this month's Q&A. As you probably noticed, we're in the van and Phil's not here because he's got holiday stuff to do. So yeah, just me and Raj. Crack on, man.
All right. If you were a tool in a toolbox, which one would it be and why?
Well, as soon as you said that, I looked over here and there's a tool there. So
Wrench.
that's what I'm going to be. I'm a wrench.
Spanner.
Is there a difference?
Yeah, a spanner.
It's adjustable.
It's adjustable, isn't it?
So I'm adjustable.
I'm very set in my ways.
Oh wow. And I'm infinitely it's like a mouth. Anyway, yeah, so there we go. That's what tools we
What
are.
would Lanky be? Sledgehammer.
He always has that weird little thing though, doesn't he, with all the little tools.
He'd be a multi-tool.
Yeah, he'd be a multi-tool, but a really small one. Because he always has a really small
tiny
one.
little screwdriver.
Just to, contrast with his size.
How do you guys feel your deal with Ripple can benefit the band? Really must be exciting times to be with such a prestigious label.
Well, I mean, I guess obviously with any record deal, you never quite know how it's going to end up, but things look good so far. They seem like a really good label, and
finally break America.
Yeah, well, don't joke. There are some UK-based Ripple bands that are touring America, like Cyclona are. So I guess that stuff like that is definitely on the cards. But it's such early days that it's difficult. You could make wild predictions about what's going to happen. So far, the only real things that have happened is obviously Ripple Fest, which we're playing in July, which is good,
Looking forward to that.
which is completely off the back of signing to them, so that's been cool. And just there's a lot of communication, which is good, and they're really upfront about stuff. When we talk to them, they're like, kind of, this is what we do, this is why we do it, and there's no grey areas, which I'm really enjoying with the communication with them, and we'll ask them questions, and whether we get the answers that we want, we understand why they've said it.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. How cryptic was that?
Assuring us.
That was proper cryptic. That was well good. I'm impressed with myself there. It's because I'm trying not to give anything away. Because that's the other thing. They are also really good at kind of helping guide you, because I'm just like an excited child, so I want to tell everybody everything all the time as soon as it happens, and they're like, maybe wait a little bit.
Hold your horses, man.
Yeah. So it's been good so far. We're really happy. So we shall see. Fingers crossed. Yeah.
I'm not going to use Rob's adjective.
No, don't.
Used in this question.
Okay.
From the most recent tour, what was the strangest heckle?
It was the
Suck his dick.
Yeah, suck his dick. Where did that originate?
That was Reading. That was who was it?
Oh, it was no. George. It was
George.
Of course it was George.
Who else was it going to be?
It was George. And then the thing is then...
And then you made the mistake of telling the people in Guildford.
Yeah, and then it became a Guildford thing, and then every time I retold the story, then the crowd would then do it. So it became like a tour-wide heckle.
Yeah, it's a tour mantra.
Yeah, suck his dick. Yeah, so there we go. That was the weirdest one. Thanks, George.
How do you go about getting a record pressed? Is there anything you need to consider?
Okay, well, I guess you're talking about getting the actual vinyl done.
Press, what they're called, press houses, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I mean, I can give you sort of vague allusions to it, or I could, if there's somebody, who is it that asked it? Darren. Well, I mean, Darren, if you actually want to know the actual details, then message me and I'll tell you the actual company we used, because obviously the first EP we got done ourselves. And so I literally know a production house that I went to, and they made the vinyl for us. But in a general sense, it's just like using any other company.
Yeah, you just make an order, they do it.
Yeah, it was for them. It's a product, isn't it? So we uploaded the artwork, made sure it was within the templates that they wanted, and uploaded all of the mastered files, and then just a really long period of waiting. And then you kind of almost forget, and then all of a sudden an absolute shit ton of vinyl arrives at your house, and you're like, oh yeah, and it's and it comes on the back of a pallet, and they're so where do you want this then? And I'm like, I live in a flat. So it was at the time I did, and so it was just in the garden. I remember it was all just stacked up in the garden. I'm like,
hope it doesn't rain.
Yeah, totally. I'm so glad it didn't. So yeah, it's.
But you do have to consider it has to be mastered differently to
Ye-
like
yeah.
Spotify and stuff, because obviously it's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
actually a needle going in and out.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. There are,
you know,
there are certain
it can't be
things.
as loud, because then the needle physically jumps out.
You
of
have
the
to do
groove.
things like in a lot of modern music, bass can be stereo, whereas it helps on vinyl if the bass is mono, is summed,
Yeah,
to get technical.
and then also like you have to have the bassier tracks.
Well, you
right
don't
at the
have
beginning,
to,
but it's better.
yeah,
It's better,
yeah.
isn't it?
I mean, I talked about that in the recent album breakdown. If you checked it out, yeah. Which way? Yeah, here,
Or there.
I don't know, one
It's
of the
in-
two. Yeah,
somewhere up there.
In the corner.
Above.
I'll put a link to it. But yeah, so it kind of, there are intrinsic things that are part of vinyl to do with the way it reproduces sound, and one of them is that on the outer edge of it has more of a bass response, and as it gets into smaller concentric circles, it actually loses some of the bass response. So it's just technical stuff, but I'm not sure that's exactly what it means. I think he literally means
said anything.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, we've given him a lot of examples there, but Darren, if you want the actual details, then email me and I'll literally send you the company, because I can't remember. There's something like Mobineco or something like the company's
I
called.
wasn't in the band then. I can't remember.
Yeah, but it's weird. It's one of those things as well where it's like a Taiwanese company, and yet it got made in Europe, and so it's a global thing, as it were. Cool. Next.
All right. If you were offered to have one song to be played by or with a classical orchestra, which song would it be and why?
Because I'd almost want it to be a song that didn't lend itself to it easily. Just for the challenge. Like, imagine Persona non grata. You know what I mean? Like.
I don't know. I've heard quite a few like classical covers of songs.
Yeah.
That you don't think like recently I got into like there's this what they called, there's a string quartet called Fortune.
Oh yeah.
And they do loads of like Metallica covers, and they just work so well.
Yeah.
I think if the song's written,
you said
well,
about that before, actually. Yeah.
I think if the songs are just written well,
Yeah. To be honest with you, we'd be happy with anything. Like if somebody like did a string version of one of our songs, that would be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be so cool.
Mate, I might actually I know some people that do arrangements. That would be cool. Actually, that would be cool. Maybe something for a future record. Yeah.
Which Womble song would you cover?
Well, I mean, obviously, of the main Wombles classics, you've got "Remember You're a Womble."
That's the only one I know.
But then there's the theme tune, like the Wombles of Wimbledon, coming away.
Like,
Underground, overground, wombling free. The wombles of Wimbledon, common are we.
Because the other, "Remember You're a Womble" is "Remember You're a
Yeah,
Womble."
Remember you're a womble. Remember you're a womble.
Dun, 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 dun.
I think that would lend itself.
Mate,
well
if you watch
to-
some of them, like they've all got great, like the Wombles have got some great 70s gear, like some of the amps and instruments, man. So they knew where it was at, yeah. And then there's that weird, like, one that got released relatively recently, like the Merry Christmas one, which is like, I think it was like maybe early 2000s or something like that, or maybe even a bit later. But it's like they've obviously just dug out the old Womble costumes, but like you're like, it's not the same as the 70s Wombles, man. You can just tell, even though obviously they look the same, like the Wombles. I'm like, I don't believe you. You're a liar. Underneath, you're different people.
We wish you a wobbling Merry Christmas.
Just saying. So yeah, I would say,
I think we answered the question.
I would say, remember you're a Womble.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember you're a Womble, because that's the only one you know. So yeah, that would help when we're covering it.
Have you guys got any Europe plans? Any festies over there? If not, which one would you most like to play at?
Well, again, hopefully with the old Ripple connection, this will help a little bit as well, because
Yeah, they do one in Paris. or something,
Yeah,
don't they?
they do Ripple Fests all over Europe. And essentially, the thing is, we have two things really. We have tried to, I think I mentioned this before, we've tried to play Europe a couple of times, and essentially it's about, we have no contacts in Europe yet, unlike in the UK, we have quite a lot of contacts, so we can book UK tours relatively easily. Relatively, yeah. Whereas in Europe, we don't have that, simply. So we either need to get contacts or we need to work with a booking agent, and we don't have a booking agent yet. We do all our own booking. Maybe that will be something that will change in the future, and that would facilitate a European tour a lot easier. But then if we actually get over there like through Ripple or something, I think it will be much easier for us to make the contacts,
Europe.
etc. So soon, hopefully, I hope within the next year, definitely we'll get to Europe.
All right. If you were asked to appear on a revived Top of the Pops, which song would you choose?
Well, I guess it would
Would
probably.
we have to mime it?
Yeah, you had to. I've been on Top of the Pops once, and you had to mime it.
That sounds like a good segue.
Yeah, no. They can ask that question. I'm not going to answer it without them asking it.
Oh,
Yeah.
tease.
That'll be next month. You'll have to ask that question.
I'd want to pick the most inappropriate one.
Well, no, but surely it would be your latest single,
Yeah.
because that's the point of Top of the Pops, wasn't it? So
Yeah.
it would be whatever single we released
Something
at
off
the
the
time.
new album, then.
Sorry to be boring and obvious about it, but it wouldn't just be. I don't think you get to
I
go
think,
on
yeah.
and choose. I think it's because it's promotion, isn't it? So it would be whatever our latest single was. So we haven't decided on the singles yet, have we?
No.
Or at least we haven't told anybody. Anyway, next.
Okay. Is there anything you could tell us about the next album? It's got bangers on it, mate.
Yeah,
full
yeah.
of bangers.
It is. I probably mentioned before. Maybe it's an album of completely two halves, and I'm not even like being like, oh, it's two halves. No, it really is. There's like, it's almost like two EPs in a way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Put together, it's like, but it's the first side of the album is called The Fall, even though there is an album title, End All We Know. So there you go. I'm giving you that away. And then the first side of the vinyl, because we always think of vinyl, is called The Fall, and then the second side is called The Rise. The first side is kind of dystopian, bit dark, post-Brexit, like kind of pandemic writing, and then the second half is kind of trying to pull ourselves out of the darkness and write some kind of happier songs, I
Yeah.
guess, and more uplifting songs, and we've never really done that before. So the second half is The Rise. So there you go. That's a few tidbits,
Bam.
isn't it? Yeah. Nice.
Do you have a favourite poet?
Ooh, this is a good one. Well, you go first.
I can't remember. His name's Yeats, I think.
Oh, okay,
he's
yeah.
got this. I actually heard the poem for the first time in the movie Equilibrium
Okay, yeah.
with
yeah.
Christian Bale and Sean Bean.
Okay.
Can't remember it all off by heart, but it's basically he's saying like, if I embroidered like all the finest cloths made out of like the twilight and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
stars, like tread carefully for you tread on my dreams.
Wow.
And it's just like
Deep, man.
it kind of reminds me of like being a musician though, because like, you know, you make all these
Yeah, yeah.
songs and like you can kind of put yourself out
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
and you know, people are gonna tell you what they think about it and
Yeah.
all this stuff,
And then they
like,
tread on it.
and they tread on it. But it kind of
Yeah,
like
yeah,
reminds
that's
me of
cool,
like,
man.
you know, because you build these songs out
Yeah, yeah.
of your dreams.
Exactly,
You know.
man. I mean, I think for me, favourite is hard, but like I guess the one that's been with me the longest. I remember in GCSE English, we studied Wilfred Owen, a First World War poet, and we broke down a poem called Dulce Decorum Est. And I remember that always really stuck with me, how vivid it was. And then later on, I found out more stuff about him. It's quite a sad tale. You should look into Wilfred Owen. And then there's a link between him and this other First World War poet called Siegfried Sassoon. There's a suggestion they might have been more than friends and all this kind of stuff. And there's a lot of interesting intrigue around it. And so they're some of my favourite First World War poets. But the truth is that like, I read new poetry all the time, and I'm quite into wordsmithery,
Yeah.
you know, and so I like poetry full stop, but there are some of my ones that have been with me the longest, I guess.
All right. And I think this is the last one.
Okay.
If you could record in one world famous top class studio, which one would you choose?
Oh. Interestingly, I was chatting to somebody last night and he was saying about we should record with him, but I'll tell you about that later.
Ooh.
And you can ask about that later. So I'm such a tease.
Yeah.
I know. I love it. I love teasing it out. Well, and then if they watch it, they can ask questions for next month, can't they?
Yeah.
World class. Oh, what was the one where Rumours was recorded? Sound City?
That's the one that Dave Grohl did the.
Yeah, didn't he
Yeah.
buy up the desk
I think
or
so,
something?
yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if that still exists as a studio, but the place where Rumours by Fleetwood Mac was recorded, that desk is supposed to be like the guy that designed it is a bit crazy, and he's kind of like nobody really understands how he made this
Yeah,
desk.
yeah, yeah.
It's all like only he can fix it or whatever, and so that's why Dave Grohl just bought the desk, I
Yeah.
think. So I'd like to record like wherever that desk is now, the sound studio desk.
I mean, what about Abbey Road? I mean,
Or it might have been Sound City, actually. Sorry, carry on.
Abbey Road.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is Abbey Road is one of those places where it's like famous, but actually we could record there tomorrow.
Yeah,
I think
I know,
you just
yeah,
need
yeah.
the money. I don't think it's like, no, we won't let you in. I don't think there's any
Still
kind of...
top class, world famous.
Yeah. All
studio.
Maidavale Studios is really good as well. But like, yeah, I think these days, I think people need the money, don't they? So if you've
Yeah.
got the money, you could probably record anywhere.
Anywhere that we've got the money for.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I heard that thing about Steve Albini as well, about like kind of he's got this flat fee of no matter how big an artist or how small an artist.
Oh, yeah,
it's
I remember you
something like 10 grand. Don't quote me. It's something like 10 grand. And
He doesn't do royalties.
Yeah. So you can just record if you've got that money. You can just record with Steve Albini. If whether you're a massive artist or a small artist.
Yeah. I think more important would be like who the producer
And Steve Albini would be him, and he's like he would be really interesting to work with because he's all about like no frills.
Yeah, raw.
He's all about yeah. You just have to be really, really fucking good, basically. Right, is that it?
That's it.
Cool. Cheers, guys. It's been a bit weird without Phil. We do miss him. Like, imagine him there. Hello.
Sorry,
Anyway.
no, you'd be a bit taller.
Yeah, up there.
There you go.
And bending down slightly. Hello. So that's Phil. Right, yeah, we'll see you soon, guys, and thanks for all the questions. See you later. Bye bye.
Take care, guys.